Yeah, not just that, Elsie is just really good if this is going to be a Jubei Enigma, which it almost feels like it has to be because you don't want to make your offlane that weak because your offlane's already going to struggle because it's tied versus Monkey. But that's where Elsie, you've already got the Eidolons in lane. It's not like you're not going to skill it up. If you go for the other build on Enigma where you avoid Eidolons completely, then you simply press the attack it off. So it really is the most appropriate counter pick here. Of course, there is still a black hole that is still going to be slightly more difficult for you to cancel out, especially if they lead with the duel, which of course you're always going to want to lead with the duel. But at the same time, I'm a little bit nervous for Thunder Predator and their lanes. I think they really need to have some type of lane winner on Yamsun's hero. Otherwise, this game is going to look not even close out of the gates.
Well, we'll see what else Thunder Predator have planned here with this final pick in their second phase. Okay. Gonna go back to the Ogre. I mean, it worked out pretty well for them before. Gives them a little bit more lockdown, and obviously you go back to that theme of multiple heroes who can buff up your right clicker with the IO and the Ogre. So whether it's the Monkey King or the Legion Commander for that matter, there is going to be a lot that Thunder Predator can do to just sort of make that one hero dish out pretty intense amounts of damage. But speaking of intense damage, on the other side, the Ursa getting picked up for really the first time today, as Black and Yellow will lock down their carry.
Yeah, but a lot of respect bans for the Ursa, and for a very good reason. Usually the team with the Tidehunter wants to ban out Ursa, and unfortunately, Thunder Predator already have their safe laner, so it's not like that really counter could ever come out, but that is where this Ursa is going to feel really nice versus this Legion Commander. It's one of the few heroes that doesn't care about getting dueled right off the get-go, but in addition to that, this is one of the age-old counters versus the Monkey King, where even though you're sitting in your own ring, if the Ursa is just beating into you, there is a breaking point where suddenly you are dying to this Ursa and there's nothing you can do about it. I think it's definitely gotten better for the Monkey King as time has gone on, but that also just gave them another tool to get into the pit. Of course, Ursa will do Roche whether or not it's gushed by the Tidehunter or the Snapfire with the little Shredder, but it just means that you have an even more equal opportunity to now break out onto the map. I think that's really the biggest issue with Black and Yellow. It feels like sometimes in their drafts they just don't have that much agency, and I think that's where they kind of get balled up by their opponents and they have to play towards their opponent's pace, and unfortunately that's not always the best strategy when your opponents draft around their heroes and not yours. So we'll have to see now what Sammy is going to do with his last pick here. Of course, we both need mid laners on both the TP and the Black and Yellow side, but I think they're banning out a lot of the safe picks. I like the Queen of Pain ban. Saw Sammy Boy play that as well. But everything else has already been really. Sammy hasn't played anything else except for what has already been banned. So we're gonna get a new Sammy Boy hero this game.
Now we may get something new from Dark Mago as well. The Bat taken away. The Kunkka was obviously taken out way back in that previous phase. So, well, what are we looking at here? Do Thunder Predator... I mean, do they try and just send it on the Tiny for Dark Mago? It's a hero that obviously got maybe shifted around a little bit in recent times, but it's still a hero that Dark Mago played very well and very frequently. Excuse me, in previous times, and you'll have an IO there with it as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ember.
Wishful thinking on my part. I wanted to see the Tiny back a little bit, but the Ember is going to give them that still sort of dynamic, very mobile sort of playmaking hero.
Yeah, the only thing I'm concerned now for Black and Yellow is the best heroes that Sammy Boy could have played are ones that help you get on top of these buildings. Of course, when we talk about Ursa, we talk about the lack of actual tower damage, and that really issue wasn't answered by any of the other prior picks. So now Ember is going to be even more of a thorn in your side. If you catch the Ember, that is great. That is going to be huge, but you need to do it a good 2 or 3 times, and then I can imagine you actually getting some of these objectives after the fights. But I've also seen games where Dark Mago is losing for 20 minutes, and then he decides, okay, I'm not fighting anymore. I'm going to efficiently cut every single wave, and that's a Necro mid.
Okay.
Okay, counter pick. Let's see what Sammy can do.
Yeah, we said what? They needed a little bit more lockdown. The Necrophos provides that. You get yourself some durability as well with that hero, and well, it's not a bad choice. Also, the potential Ghost Shroud play against Monkey King and LC, who both are going to be a little right-click heavy, so I mean, it's an unconventional pick, but I feel like it really does work for black and yellow in multiple ways.
Yeah, and of course, you are getting a lot of farm now on a hero that doesn't have a stun, doesn't really have that much aggressive potential, but you are able to put the heals in your allies. And if we can play around these card timings, we have another offlaner in the mid lane. The first 15 minutes of the game are going to be so incredibly important for black and yellow. If they get off to a good start, then they're going to run out of places to play in the Thunder Predator side. That's the biggest issue with this IO. Your Space Maker is now one of your cores. It's not going to be this 4 position that Matthew sits in the bottom lane like his Rubik or his Wind, where he gets to be another core almost, but he's also just putting creep pressure on his opponents. In addition to that, Thunder Predator's wave clear is kind of iffy. They have a lot of damage in the Boundless Strike and in the overwhelming odds, but aside from that, if you can actually flood these towers with just pure heroes, Black and Yellow can definitely look at those early objectives just a little bit more. My problem is after that, around that 20-minute mark, where this game gets really hard for them.
Well, we'll see how this plays out. Black and yellow threw maybe a curveball or two our way in terms of the draft, but now they've got to actually...
It feels good to be this good.
Excuse me. They've got to get in there and actually execute the game plan. So, well, we will have to find out. I don't know. There's just so many question marks right now for black and yellow in terms of how they're going to make use of the pieces that they've put together. Theoretically, as you said, there is quite a bit of strength that they can do, that they can have at their disposal. But to this point, we've seen black and yellow, even in situations where they've drafted themselves into a good spot, they haven't always been able to execute it correctly. But now this is a good first play onto Dark Mago. They burn through the Flame Guard pretty much immediately, and okay. They push their way forward. It's a 5-man maneuver in for first blood, and fantastic start for them. The question now is, what else can they get? They're trying to set up, looking for a couple of bounty runes. They throw down the Obs Ward mid there as well, which I'm not 100% sure Panda was able to spot, but they are trying to make some moves early on to get this laning stage into an even better spot for themselves.
Yeah, establish dominance to get control over the map. I don't think there was any real shenanigans. They were able to block out that small in the bottom lane after seeing the Ogre kind of hanging around mid. We'll see if a sentry actually ends up getting placed here, but I don't think they know about it. I think it was just a little bit too dark for him to see, but it's a death that honestly, it's just gold for Yamsun. Maybe it's going to affect Oscar a little bit more, but actually Angel, oh, he tried to be sneaky. Yeah.
And now his lane's a little, not ruined, but broken up because he went for Boundless Strike at level 1 to try and get himself away. It did not work. So you don't have the Jingu to immediately have that advantage against a melee offlaner, and I don't think that's going to last too long. Angel should hit level 2 fairly quickly, but the fact that that first wave or two is going to have him missing that ability means Zero and Little Nick really don't have to be that afraid of him right now. They could try to play forward.
Yeah, and I think that's where, unfortunately, Pandaboo is going to be a Pandaboo. Because at the same time, you don't have that Anchor Smash, so he really does not need to be afraid of all too much here. Of course, the Gush does an incredible amount of damage.
Stun, though. Hold on. Panda. I want to fall back a little bit, but yeah, this is an Ogre, right? He's got 13 regen with the Tango active, but still need to be a little bit careful around Little Nick, but that play in and of itself really did get Angel into a better spot. He's halfway to level 2, so yeah. It's a nice play for black and yellow, but I don't think it's going to really affect the dynamics in this lane all that significantly.
Yeah, and really, I don't think Angel minds too much because Pandaboo, it's not like he can get any of these range trips for himself, but he didn't pop his salve. He's trying to be greedy. A big loss would be if Pandaboo has to salve himself. That's why they keep hunting for it. Nice little deny there from Nick, but they need to keep on playing aggressively on this Ogre, and they actually get the salve out of him. So that's pretty big, because now they only have the tangos on their bodies. They're playing with really a lot less now, especially with the Courier already coming back from Pandaboo.
Yeah, so Thunder Predator, you got to be a little bit careful here. You don't have quite the same ability to trade out damage than you otherwise would, because your regen's been kind of hindered. And look at Little Nick. He just shows no fear right now. He is marching his way forward, knowing we need to keep this pressure on. If we can keep it going, then we're going to be in a better spot because of it. So he wants to play as far forward as possible. Meanwhile, up top, Jubei and Yamsun, well, they're getting pushed back a little bit here. Oscar is trying to apply that pressure. And it's kind of funny. We were talking about this in the previous match when it was the IO teamed up with Zero on the Bloodseeker, that they didn't really have too much to work with. Oscar feels like it's a slightly different situation. You mentioned this earlier. If Jubei goes for the Eidolons, then maybe Oscar can make something happen with that with a little bit of extra overwhelming odds damage. But if you ignore it entirely, then you're working with a Malefice that Oscar can immediately remove. Speaking of removal, Lil Nick getting kicked out of the lane there as Angel does finally manage to get something aggressive going for himself. Gets the assist in from Panda, and they find their first kill.
Yeah, really nice from him. You just push forward just a little bit, and he really is the weaker one in the lane. He's the one who's always going to get punished, and something that really he has to be a little bit more careful about going forward. Of course, Panda Boo previously did a very good job of body blocking out that large camp, so it's not like he could push the wave back all too much, but now with all these trees taken out, it's very obvious whenever these heroes are going to start running at you. But top, yeah.
They take
Everybody's
down
dead.
Oscar. Yamsun gets traded out, so yeah, that... Well, it's a 1-for-1, but if you look at it, Yamsun got the kill into Oscar, whereas Matthew was the one who had to clean up. Let's just miss all the kills. Camera work not good, as Zero gets taken down in the bottom lane. Apologies, folks, but Angel and Panda make their move, and Zero, well, went for that sort of soul ring as that first major item as opposed to something a little bit more defensive. So that did leave him vulnerable. Didn't have his boots up either, so he wasn't exactly able to just outrun those opposing heroes, and Thunder Predator tie the score up at 3-3. Now, immediately trying to push back in. Look at that Shredder damage. Angel is going to get stunned up. The Mischief Blade doesn't really do what he wanted it to, but found the strike coming in. Not dead yet. Panda pushing forward with the Ignite and the Fire Blast to make sure Zero couldn't stay in Gush range. That is going to be enough to get him out of there safely as Dark Mago gets picked off mid. Jubei in with the rotation. He and Sammy are able to strike onto the Ember Spirit, but well, that doesn't mean Yamsun's a little bit alone here. Oscar, though, even with Matthew behind him, doesn't really have any means of just closing that gap instantly, so Yamsun's going to get away with being solo for a bit, as Black and Yellow, well, starting to get a little bit more aggressive. That's a very nice rotation from Jubei, and I mentioned with this Malefice build, you can't really do too much because Oscar can just remove it, but in the middle lane, obviously the Ember doesn't have that same bailout.
Yeah, and that's also where, unfortunately for Dark Mago, his lane just sucks. He just got directly counterpicked. There's not really much that he can do. Even now, it looks like Sammy Boy's losing, but yeah.
He's low in the bottom lane, so this could just be a trade-off on the carries, but Zero, he needs cooldowns and he needs to pop the Soul Ring, so he's trying to stay in range. The Boundless Strike, though, is going to be there. Matthew now TP's in for the heal, and Zero... he unfortunately, yeah, he just gets absolutely baited. He did not have the vision to see Matthew coming in, and Angel, I mean, he was so close to dead. If Matthew doesn't make that rotation, I think that the Soul Ring play just gets him the kill. So big move there from Matthew. Of course, this does now leave him hanging out down bot because he TP'd down here. So it's going to be a long walk back to his lane, or he has to stick around, and if he does stick around, maybe they could look to get aggressive again. Angel needs to wait for the Boundless to come back up, but you will have the 3v2 numbers advantage, and they're going to try to go in. They don't even need the Boundless. They're on to Lil Nick with the Ignite, or excuse me, the Fire Blast first, and yeah, there's nothing Zero can do to defend his teammate there.
Yeah, just walked a little bit too far forward, and really the only thing they're making these plays off of is a level 1 Fire Blast. That's how kind of tight this lane is and these games are. And, ooh, Sammy... Oh, I don't think he can die here, realistically, but...
Dark Mago pushing forward with this... Okay. Extra damage from the Remnant. They get the kill. The Malefice comes out, but it's too late. These two supports really aren't going to be able to make anything happen here. And does he really... No. It's just a bit of a warning shot there with the chains, forcing Lil Nick back. But Thunder Predator responding quite nicely. Right? We were sitting at 3-3 a moment ago. It's been a 4-1 stretch since then, and Thunder Predator are trying their best to reestablish a little bit of control right now, and really, you take a look at the last hit counts, about 6.5 minutes in, outside of the Necro, who's just been farming up a storm, Thunder Predator's cores are in a pretty solid position for themselves.
Yeah, and I think that kind of comes back to the top lane, where losing Yamsun twice really starts to suck, especially once Oscar gets a few more levels up. It's one of those heroes where suddenly you're level 5, and you don't really want to play your lane anymore. Unfortunately, unless Yamsun has someone to play with, he doesn't really have a lane up here, and I think that's why they're getting even more aggressive. They just keep pinging him out, and then he just gets right-clicked.
Oscar just running him back. pushing him to the tower, making it so that Yamsun doesn't really get to have a whole lot of fun right now. And, well, I mean, he's going to try, but this is the thing for the Ursa, right? Any damage he does gets immediately healed off. His bottom lane Angel, yeah, going to get himself picked off. Lil Nick and Zero pushing in. They still have that combo to work with. Gush into Cookie with the Shredder. 3 points up in it, too. So it hits hard. And the Monkey, well, you're not really strong enough or even mobile enough at this point to deal with that.
Yeah, you're sitting at a -13 if you get the medallion put on you as well. It's not fun. It's really anti-gamery, and I think he's got to be very careful. He TP'd back bottom, so if he plays into Zero's level 6, he could very realistically just die again. You know what, Matthew's being really obnoxious in these stacks, but I think he's, yeah.
Scythe will take him down. Sammy able to grab his first kill, defends the stacks as well, so he's going to be able to clear through that. And if you're Matthew, that's not a bad play, I suppose. He gets some vision down, but I mean, Reaper Scythe is always just a little bit annoying as your support spends even more time on the sidelines. But back mid, Dark Mago and Panda, they're pushing pretty aggressively forward. They know that Sammy doesn't have the Scythe, but this is still a rough one, 2v3. But they actually just might be able to do it anyway. Lil Nick, dangerously low, but Dark Mago can't get it just yet. He wants to go back in, though. Now, very quickly realizing that's probably not a good idea, but with Panda here and Oscar coming in, they're going to go for it. They get the first kill down. They need the duel here as well. Onto Sammy, they manage to connect. And now, yeah, Jubei, just might as well take your hands off the keyboard there. Really nothing left for him to do. Dark Mago picks up 2. Oscar gets his first duel win, and that was looking like a bit of a whiff the first time around. Dark Mago wasn't able to jump in with the Remnant directly onto Lil Nick there, but the reinforcements arrive, and they swing it into a very advantageous fight.
And because of that kind of a crazy dive coming in from TP, they force Nick away from bottom, and then you are in the true 1v1 matchup where it is a very safe Monkey King and a very sad Tidehunter. Sammy also TP's down here, I think, to try and spark some type of counterplay, but as soon as he walks underneath that ward, Angel's just gone.
Yeah.
Of course, he's got to walk to get anywhere he wants to go, but I mean, he was in the danger zone a minute ago when he didn't have TP because he'd already committed it back to the bottom lane, but because of all that shenanigans mid, if he really needs to, he could just TP out.
Yeah, he can leave if he wants. They could TP in support if they're looking for a fight. Jubei is not level 6 yet, so the Black Hole isn't online, and looks like Thunder Predator don't want that fight because they're looking for an easier one onto Nick. Angel, okay, throws down the Wukong's command here. They recognize those heroes that were down bot are probably still there, so the Wukong's less to get the kill onto Nick and more to just sort of keep some of those other heroes at arm's length, and it is going to be successful. They find the pickoff, and well, now the question is, if you're black and yellow, what do you do here? Sammy is taking some creeps, and Jubei is trying to hit level 6 by just sort of sticking around, but you could have done this with these heroes staying in their original lanes, so now the rotation doesn't appear to be accomplishing too much for you, but they've TP'd Zero mid. If he can get the Ravage off, you have a potential sort of wraparound, but Jubei and Sammy, they want to wait as long as they can, but the smoke is going to start ticking down, and while they wait, Zero's starting to get pressured up a little bit, so now they'll make their move. They're going to jump in onto Matthew. No, they won't. They'll let him walk by, but now the Black Hole is going to come in. It only connects onto Oscar, and there's that Boundless Strike to cancel it out. Zero, though, in with the Ravage. They're still trying to find some kills here, but they don't have the damage. Oscar gets healed up. Dark Mago jumps into the... That's going to be the Reaper Sight that does get Sammy some sort of kill, but the rest of the team really feeling like they're just breaking up and falling back as Zero will fall. Sammy on the run as well. Angel's going to be able to finish him off. Lil Nick trying for the Mortimer Kisses, but Dark Mago immediately jumping in onto him, gets the kill with the Sleight of Fist, and Panda was able to survive that. He had to dance his way around those kisses, but he will be okay. And now Yamsun, that was a little bit greedy. I'm not sure if he really wanted to go for the camp or if he was just slow falling back. Either way, though, he stays in the line of fire, and Thunder Predator bring him down. So Oscar dies, but he trades himself out for 5.
Yeah, and that's where it is just that hard for the Enigma to actually find a black hole in this type of game. And I just don't know what you do. You run at him whenever you try to get the Ravage out beforehand. You're getting poked and prodded by Dark Mago constantly. Dark Mago that's also going for Deso first, by the way, on Ember Spirit, so that's fun. But that was also the second that Angel finished off his Echo Saber. They fought exactly when Angel wanted to. Even though he didn't have the ring, that is the biggest power spike on Monkey, and they just waltz right into it. They lose their mid tower, they lose all of their heroes. I just feel like they need to be a little more careful. They want to bring the fight towards this bottom area, and then they want to get something a little bit more advantageous vision-wise. All of their vision was planted down here before. So straying away from it that far just feels a little bit strange from them.
And now this mid play isn't really going to develop into much of anything either, as Sammy's forced to fall back. But while he falls back, you take a look top. Thunder Predator, they're looking for the tier 1 tower. The glyph is deployed because Black and Yellow will be getting it back pretty much instantly. But tower still goes down, at least on this front. It's an even exchange because Black and Yellow were able to take a tier 1 down bot just moments before. So that is going to even itself out. But it still feels like Thunder Predator have the advantage in terms of, well, just about everything else. The farming rate, the fighting potential, as they're going to relocate themselves mid. Sammy, okay. Trying for the Ghost Shroud play initially, but he's now trapped up inside the Wukongs, and yeah, that's a pretty easy one. Now they're on to Jubei as well. Oscar got hit up by the Malefice, but Angel's just going to keep the charge going. Echo Saber coming in, and, well, gets pulled back there, but yeah, it doesn't matter. The duel still comes in. Oscar is going to be able to find that. Little Nick, hi, he's here, but there's really no play to make, and now, oh my god, Yamsun, yeah, he's caught out in the top lane. If he looks for the TP, the Boundless Strike is there, so as long as Angel just holds on to that, there's no way out. He did just use that Boundless, though, so Yamsun's going to fall back. 0 TPs in, well-timed reinforcements from the Tide. That is going to break that one up. Thunder Predator honestly still had the numbers advantage, but a fight under a tier 2, still not fantastic for them, especially if that's a fight into a potential Ravage.
Yeah, it's still a little bit nerve-wracking having Angel just go top, immediately chase down your Ursa. Your Ursa, who is not farming really that much in this game because he keeps on getting chased out of these areas. And this is where I think all of that early lead that you got on Sammy is just dispersing. It just feels like he's no longer that monster he was. He's even 2 levels behind Dark Mago after everything that transpired there.
Oh boy. Searing Chains thrown out first. Panda's looking for the wrap. He runs into the opposing supports, though, so this may be a little bit too far for Panda to go, and yeah, that's going to be a free kill for Sammy with the Reaper Scythe. But over to the north, they got the duel down onto 0. They won't win that duel, but they should still be able to find the kill here, and maybe not. Ravage comes through. Mortimer Kisses being deployed as well. Matthew is dropping low. Not quite low enough, though. He is going to be able to walk away. Dark Mago, meanwhile, tried to go in for the Sleight of Fist, hoping to finish off 0. Didn't get it, and Sammy, he just snuck in. He was invised up. Matthew's looking for the relocate before that Death Pulse hits, but didn't manage to get it. Jubei now in with the Black Hole, connecting onto the Ember Spirit. Angel biding his time. Didn't have the Boundless, so he can't cancel it immediately. And, well, you crossed over the line from biding your time to just not making a move. As Sammy picks up the kill, and Thunder Predator, I think, just trying to maybe do a little bit too much there with the duel onto the Tidehunter. When they don't get that kill, they needed to back away. Instead, they try to salvage out something, and it turns into a worse loss.
Yeah, and at the same time, Dark Mago was also just completely out of his mana, but Sammy just is pushing the mid lane by himself.
There you go. Boundless Strike couldn't cancel the Black Hole, but he did have it then to get the duel win, and, well, Sammy will be picked off. Oscar plus 30, so starting to make some progress here, and Thunder Predator, they actually want to go in again. They immediately smoke up. They're going to push their way forward. They know the Black Hole's not there, but look at that. They cut down the tree. The press the attack, though, is still going to be used, but Angel, he just gets blown up. And without Angel, they can't take this fight. They just have to run. Oscar's trying to get out of there, but the Cookie Stun locking down Matthew. He already tethered, so he can't now pull himself away. And Angel, he really just jumped the gun on that one. With him getting taken down early, there's just really not much to do. But with Dark Mago coming in, they're going to try and turn. They've taken down the 2 supports, but they really do need to be able to get onto these cores. And with the Yamsun dishing out the damage, Dark Mago, he just had nowhere to go. He threw down the Remnant, couldn't jump to it in time. That leaves Oscar alone, and Oscar's going to be taken down. That fight, disastrous for Thunder Predator. If they'd have waited maybe a half a step, they would have had their full lineup going up that ramp. Instead, they just get completely wiped out.
Yeah, it feels like they definitely threw away a little bit there because now their advantage, they placed the ward. I think Angel going up ahead, that's why they picked the Enigma, to break his tree. Whenever they go into these high ground positions, you have to be so careful with your positioning, and just did not respect Jubei at all. And then, like you said, they're also just running ahead of Dark Mago, who was so crucial in these pickoffs for the entirety of the game up until this point to get them to their lead, that it feels strange. They just outran their support. And now Sammy, who, talking about before, being pretty low level and a little bit sad, is now right on par with that Ember Spirit.
Yeah, he just gets a recovery package basically delivered to him. So Sammy in a much better spot. He's got the Yules, he's got the Boots of Travel. You see him building up that Lotus. So, well, looking like a better position for Black and Yellow bit by bit here. And in terms of the net worth, you take a look at the graphs here. They've swung it into their favor. They were trailing for quite some... Oh, God, quite some time. That is a very aggressive reload, and they're just going to go straight in for it. They get the duel down. The duel is reflected, which doesn't really change the outcome at all, but the duel is going to pass. Zero drops down the rabbit, and now they're in onto Angel. That's just terrible. Angel gets picked off. The relocate's going to pull the IO back, and... well, Panda gets taken down as well, and to be honest, I think that's too far forward with the relocate. They were trying to get in there, but the timing's just a little bit off. They needed to be able to take down the Tidehunter quickly. Once they couldn't, the fight's just over, and Angel, we're seeing here time and time again, he really is lacking in durability at the moment. The second he gets hit up, the second little Nick can get him with the stun and the armor reduction from the Shredder, he's just gone.
Yeah, he can't be the first one in the room, and they're getting bodied so far away from that pit. It's all the time and space in the world. Darkmago doesn't have any attempt. I think Sammy, though, didn't get the Ghost Shroud off.
They should be able to find it, even with the Black Hole coming in. I don't think they actually got the win, though, or something went wrong with the sort of pop-up, but either way, who cares? Sammy falls, but they get Darkmago and Oscar in exchange thanks to Jubei's Black Hole, and prior to that fight going down, they were able to finish off Roche, so... Yamsun's got the Aegis, you turn those trades in your favor, and you feel that momentum really just shifting to an uncomfortable degree for Thunder Predator, and some of these wounds are a little bit self-inflicted. They are creating openings that Black and Yellow have been able to take advantage of, but openings that really should not be there for Thunder Predator at all.
No, definitely not, and I think that's where maybe the self-awareness from TP is a little bit lacking. They make those plays with such confidence, knowing that maybe 5 minutes ago they could have, with the lead that they had with their opponents without items, but now Yamsun is incredibly rich, and Angel, that's another one.
He's just dead again. There's still no defensive itemization for him. He's working... Well, I say working towards. He has queued up a BKB, but he has 0 gold towards it right now as the duel comes in, but there's the Ghost Shroud. Sammy's not going to take the damage. He's not going to lose the duel, and he may not even lose his life here. He is still getting away, healing himself up with the bottle. Oh, okay, no. Panda's able to finish him off there, but it is going to cost Thunder Predator heavily. They've lost Oscar and Darkmago. He doesn't have any remnants, so he's just got to try and run. Zero hits him up with the Gush, but... Matthew's in there for the heals. That's going to keep his teammate alive. Panda, meanwhile, was able to pick up a second kill onto Little Nick, but he runs directly into Yamsun afterwards. So the Bear is going to be able to finish him off, and at this point, Thunder Predator really don't have any other choice but to fall back. But Darkmago, he is pushing his way forward. Can he get a quick pick off onto Jubei? Not yet, and actually not at all. He's just got to back away. He goes mid instead.
Yeah, and I think this is where TP might adopt a more split push oriented style, because they've really lost a lot of that early game damage. Oscar was not able to snowball nearly enough to rely on himself for his own kills. Of course, we didn't see him go for that armlet build that typically we see, because he wanted to get this game going. He wanted to get the plays started, and now it's those type of decisions that are really going to end up being regrets for Thunder Predator. Same with the Deso on Darkmago, where when you're ahead, it is dominating. It feels like these supports can't play the game, but without items like a Maelstrom or a BKB, it feels like what is coming down the road is not going to be nearly as strong for this Ember.
Yeah, I'm just not sure exactly how you sort of pivot at this point with this build, and it looks like Darkmago, he may not really be pivoting at all. He's still going in for a very damage-oriented build with the crit stick, so I guess to a certain extent I can understand that, right? He's already committed to a certain playstyle. He feels he needs to just sort of keep on pushing forward like that, but well, it could come back to haunt him depending on how these next couple of fights go, because Thunder Predator really do feel like they've lost their own initiative right now. They're not really initiating into these fights in the way that they want, and they're not reacting necessarily to their opponents making moves against them either in a way that allows them to win.
Yeah, and that's where I think the lead for Black and Yellow is really going to start to erupt. Of course, they still can't hit buildings. They still can't get these objectives very easily, and that's where if Thunder Predator need to adopt a more split push style type of Dota, then they definitely can. It feels like for them to actually get onto these buildings, it's something they haven't cracked the code yet themselves either. So if Darkmago could keep himself alive in his bottom lane as long as possible. Unfortunately, he used his Remnant already. They know he's running out of resources.
He has such little mana here. Panda just going to try to step in to act as that sort of defensive hero, and that's what they have to do. Panda sacrifices himself to buy time for the TP that gets Darkmago away, and believe he just finished off that Crystallis. Yes, he did. So, well, Panda sacrifices. Dark Mago gets a significant step forward in terms of his damage output, but how do they put that to use here? Because you said earlier, and Black and Yellow, they still don't have great tower push, but if you can have 3 heroes and a creep wave hitting this with no resistance, any lineup is eventually going to get through that tower. So they do get that tier 2 bot, and they're eyeing up Dark Mago here. Does Zero want to commit the Ravage? I think he saw that safety valve Remnant come out, so yeah, he's not going to sort of let fly on that one. They really would have a narrow window to find that kill.
Yeah, it just doesn't want to use it. He knows that as soon as the Ravage is off the table, it allows TP to go for plays, and they look for a duel into Sammy, but... Oh, Jube.
Ooh.
He wanted to, but got none instead, and, well, okay, that is a big spell now spent. Of course, Jube is still working on his Blink Dagger, but now everything is going to be up to Zero to actually get these team fights started, so we'll get that immediately smoke up.
Yep, they want it. They get the Searing Chains down onto 2. It's going to be removed fairly quickly, but they do have the opportunity. Look at the Reflected Ignite just flying out everywhere, but with that increased damage from the Crystallis, the Ember is starting to hit a little bit harder in Black and Yellow. They don't want to really group up too heavily here, but Thunder Predator, that first smoke play doesn't work. Do they try it again as of right now? It looks like the answer is no. Panda's going to retake the outpost as Oscar... Yeah, there we go. There's the DC. So, Oscar going to be out of the match for just a little bit. Hopefully this is going to be a quick reconnect, but you got to wonder if you're Thunder Predator, where do they go? What do they try to do? This is a huge opening where the black hole is straight up not available. So, one of those major team fight tools for Black and Yellow just not up and running, but with so much separation on the map right now between Thunder Predator and any of their actual targets, I don't really know where they think they can go.
Yeah, I think they don't have enough placed out. They would love to make a break towards that enemy triangle, just place anything. But at the same time, I think going forward, Angel is really trying to avoid being near those high ground ward spots. He knows that that really is the only way that he dies in this type of game. He's got a BKB now, so he does need to be a little bit less afraid of actually stunning himself. Of course, if he ever feels like his tree is going to be cut, he just BKBs and then stands in place. But at the same time, are they really building up enough? But they're holding. And that's where having all these outer towers is definitely a problem that Black and Yellow still haven't fixed. They still need to really, I think, crack their skulls open and think about how they actually want to get into these engagements, because it feels like the only way Black and Yellow have been able to march onto the opponent's side of the map is whenever Thunder, Predator, or dead or are dying. And they smoke onto Yamsun, but too fast from the blink.
Able to jump away. Speaking of blinks, there is one up now on Jube's Enigma, so he's got the Blink Dagger. Obviously, he doesn't have his Black Hole back up, and now in the river, they've actually cut out Zero. They could take him down. Free Ravage. This would be huge, but they don't get the kill in time. The Ravage comes in. The Mortimer Kisses are flying through. They've already lost Oscar. Angel is going to be forced to use the Wukong's command here. That is finally going to be pushing Yamsun away, and they did actually get the kill on Zero. Dark Mago was able to track it down on the backline, and now Yamsun's not in a good spot. He's losing HP, but actually, he just straight up wins the man fight. Angel gets taken down, and Thunder Predator, now there's not enough. Dark Mago sure does damage, but he wants to be sort of picking at the edges. He cannot be the one just standing in and absorbing all this damage because he doesn't have the durability, as he will fall to the Reaper's Scythe, and now Panda is going to be falling as well. Black and Yellow looked a little bit dicey there initially, but they pull through and they get a massive team fight win.
Yep. And that's where the Ursa versus Monkey matchup lies. It's 13, 14, 15 stacks of Fury Swipes on the Monkey King, and then suddenly you are taking another 700 damage a hit, and you just cannot deal with that. He had to walk out of his own ring as well there just to keep relevant in that fight. So Yamsun just gets to win. I think Yamsun has a full BKB now and another 1,400 gold on top of it, so he's a huge winner from that fight. And also just have nice vision planted there. I think they're just a little bit too far behind. If Oscar had a slightly better game, more damage on himself, then maybe we'd see him actually be able to get those picks, but it's just unfortunate. Also, I just saw Sammy Boy cast the Death Seeker for the first time. He actually picked up that shard. Kind of cool.
He was able to use that at the back end of the fight, I think, onto the Ember Spirit as well, but it's an interesting pickup, and it does sort of ruin a little bit of what Thunder Predator tried to put together with some of these right-clickers, as you can just force them into that ethereal state. So Everything is just about sort of disruption and drawing out this fight on the black and yellow side so that Yamsun can do his damage. And we saw what happens. If you let the Ursa go at you, nobody really survives that. So, Thunder Predator, I'm not really sure. This is, what, I want to say maybe 2 or 3 times now where we've seen Oscar blinks in, they get the duel, they lock down Zero, and then he survives on a couple of hundred health, and then the Ravage starts the fight. So if they want to keep making that play, they need the damage to actually secure the kill. Otherwise, they're just walking into a fight that they immediately end up losing. And speaking of fights, there's one going down here. Duel was deployed onto Yamsun. Oscar's not going to win it. He will fall. Panda dead as well. Angel now stuck inside of his own Wukong's. BKB is active at least, so he's trying to stand up against this, but there's no backup here. So realistically, I don't think there's much he can do. He is going to find one kill. Jubei, meanwhile, threw down the black hole actually to make sure Dark Mago couldn't come in to support his teammate. That's huge. Jubei, who cares if it's just a one-man black hole? It guarantees them that that team fight stays in their control. The Ravage afterwards, well, they didn't want to take any chances that the Ember could jump away to a Remnant, and it works out perfectly for them. They take just about everyone in that fight, and at this point, it feels like Thunder Predator are really just desperately searching for answers that they don't seem capable of finding.
Yeah, Jubei's been playing so well this entire game, and at the same time, they get the save onto Yamsun, and he gets his BKB off, wins the duel. I think Oscar, man, he was doing such a good job early on, and then everything really just changed around that 15-16 minute mark, and okay,
what
duel.
Is this? That's not going to accomplish what they wanted to. He will lose the duel, lose his life, and he does have a buyback, but at this point, even if everyone here buys back, they still don't have Angel, so it feels like they won't have a lot of their damage. So they're not going to be sort of pulling the trigger on any of those buybacks right now, but while they wait, Black and Yellow, they're actually going after the racks. They got through the tower, and well, this is where we come back to the problem with their lineup in terms of not having a lot of building damage. This is very slow, but Thunder Predator aren't in a position to really contest it, so they're going to get away with it.
That's where Thunder Predator, they're not going to GG out just yet because of how bad Black and Yellow are at taking those objectives, but that's also where no time wasted. As soon as they scout this Roche, this is going to be a very, very fast Roche. It's going to be, what, negative 19 armor, something ridiculous like that, and then he's just going to get beat up by the bear.
Here comes the play in. Scan from Thunder Predator reveals that this is going down, but there isn't really a response that they can put together. They're not going to get here in time, so Roshan will fall. Aegis goes into the hands of Yamsun. I believe he picked up the shard there as well for the Earthshock upgrade, and they're immediately going to jump in onto Angel, who is way too far forward in that situation. Going to have to fall back, but him falling back means Panda has to step in front to be the new target. So you get Angel out of the fight, but it does cost you the life of an Ogre who does have buyback, so it's not going to hurt quite as much, but I don't know. I mean, they suspect what's going down there with the Roche attempt, so I'm still not sure why Angel's that close to it. But now they need to prepare for a defense. Oh, that's a problem. Angel pops the BKB at least, so he is going to be able to keep himself safe. Matthew comes in to heal him. And they should be able to outrun any of those pursuing heroes. But now, Black and Yellow, they know Angel doesn't have his BKB, so he's not exactly jumping in looking for that Wukong's command anytime soon. That frees them up to push for these objectives.
Not just that, they know that there's no glyph, so all of this damage is actually going to be felt, and that's where, unless someone makes a break for these creep waves, I don't think there's really enough here for anyone to defend. Dark Mago, however, does have the tome. He's got a full Daedalus now. I think this tome is going to get him at level 20, almost at level 20. Then he'd have the hero slight damage, but I think just brute forcing down these objectives, glyph does get kind of sent back, but now what do they do? Dark Mago is making him take a lot of damage. He's got Deso Daedalus. He's going to try to be as obnoxious as he can, but one black hole, one ravage, and then suddenly this is looking not even close.
Yeah, they've got to be so careful about those team fight plays because, like you said, if they get caught out, it's just going to be an absolute disaster for them. So playing a little bit conservatively there, but so too are Black and Yellow. They don't really want to just sort of force their way in. They do still have the Aegis for 3 minutes, but and is not the most ideal use of it. So they do decide to back themselves away. While that was happening, though, Angel spent a lot of time cutting the waves both bot and mid, so he was able to pick up a little bit more farm for himself while simultaneously making sure that Black and Yellow could really only push down the one lane if they wanted to try for that high ground attempt. And, well, It's going to buy time, that's for sure, and time right now that it feels like Thunder Predator desperately need.
Yep, especially Angel's Nullifier. If he can get this, you finally have an easy way to take out Sammy Boy, but unfortunately without it, they really are still grasping at straws. I really feel like they're at the whim of Black and Yellow. Any time that this game is going to look even close is whether or not Zero just blows his Ravage on nothing, but nah, he's fine.
Okay. Falls back. It's just so much more worrying for Dark Mega considering he never went for any sort of defensive itemization. So the second he's caught, things get a little bit rough as Yamsun drops low.
Damage.
He's able to fall back. Zero's getting hit up quite nicely as well. Dark Mago's really punishing, but there's going to be the Reaper's Scythe, and... Alright, yeah, he's gone. He's dead. There's no buyback, and I don't really know what else Thunder Predator can do. They need to pull Angel back now, because without him, there's absolutely no fight to be had. As Zero jumps in, Ravage onto 3. They're going to blow up Oscar first. They're taking down the supports as well. As Matthew will fall, Panda dead, and now Angel, you might as well go for it. But no, he gets his tree cut down here. They are going to hit him with the press the attack, though. Multiple heroes will buy back, but the beat... Again? Really? Jubei. That is twice now where that black hole has sort of immediately been canceled out, so they don't have that play to work with. Thunder Predator, it's nice, but they still can't make a move here. They lost the full top lane of Rax unless they want to just dive all the way in, and even if they do, Yamsun's still sitting on the Aegis, so they just be bringing him back up at full HP and mana.
Yeah, and now, really, what can you do? I don't think that for a moment of his life there, Dark Mega was expecting to die in 3 hits to an Ursa in that Reaper Scythe timing, but it's just the lead that they have, and like you said, he's not very tanky. He has no defensive items. He's all in on the damage. Angel, however, did finally get the opportunity to finish up this Nullifier. They need to find Sammy Boy, and they need to kill him now, and they need to hope there are no ultimates on the Black and Yellow side. They need to reclaim this high ground, and then there is a very real world where Thunder Predators start the comeback, but they've got to get it started pretty much right now, and that's where, yeah, smoke on smoke. Oh, they see Sammy.
Dark Mago gets popped, so they're going to jump in. They're looking for Sammy, as you said. They get the duel down into the Nullifier. Yamsun, though, look at him go. In onto Oscar, dishing out the damage, but Sammy will still fall. Yamsun now in trouble as well. The Aegis is still there, though, so he is coming back. But they know there isn't any Black Hole. There isn't any Ravage. Angel, though, he just doesn't have a lot of HP, but looking him up, he's healing. Matthew's coming in, but it's not going to be enough. Yamsun, with the full force of that Ursa, just tears his way through. Angel will fall, and... yeah, I think that might just be the end of it. Matthew's going to get sort of locked down here as well. He will die. Dark Mago, though, is still attempting to fight, but the problem is he can't actually go toe-to-toe with Yamsun. He has to stay on the edges. If they get directly onto him, the Ursa's just going to tear him apart, and actually can't get the kill. Little Nick not dead. There's going to be the movement. They've caught Dark Mago. They bring him down.
It feels good to be this good.
Not going to call it there. Thunder Predators still trying to fight, but they've got a lot of time that they need to buy, and the only one who can buy it is Dark Mago, as he was the only hero with buyback. So, I mean, he's going to give it a go, right? Pushing his way out, hoping to defend that final lane of Brax, but Black and Yellow, they can sense victory so close at hand. They are going to push their way forward, try to secure the Mega Creeps here first and foremost, and then they'll see where they stand in terms of the timers on these respawns. Dark Mago, I don't know. I mean, really, how much can he do here? He's going to pull the creep wave out, but that really doesn't matter. The racks are still falling, so they are going to be able to take that down. Now they take down Dark Mago, and that really does have to be the end of it.
Yeah, I don't really think they can hold anymore. Tips going around, and of course, they're not going to GG out because, again, their push is horrible. They're going to have 4 heroes up in a second here, but it's kind of just hilarious that Thunder Predator even had a shot at losing this game, but Black and Yellow are proving it. They're doing it, and, I mean, are they even going to back out and wait for Megas? I think Yamsun's raring to go.
Yeah, they sense it. One more fight really is all they need. But Oscar in on the back line. He'll take down Jubei, but that is going to cost him his own life. Immediately picked off in exchange. Panda now going to get hit up. Angel tries to jump in. He's going to pop the Wukongs. No, he's not. He gets bashed up before he can channel it out. No Wukong's command. Matthew's going to try to heal his teammate up, but it's just not going to be enough. The Ravage comes in, connecting onto 2, and that is it. The GG will be called. Thunder Predator were willing to give it one last try just in case there was a miracle, but it doesn't happen. Black and Yellow, we said Game 2 offered them the shot at redemption, and redemption is at hand. That was an excellent game on their part.
Yeah, they really did a fine job, I think, not only clawing it back in the draft, but also keeping their heads still in the game. There was a really rough moment in the game. I mean, look at win probability graph real quick, and you'll see that everyone thought they were losing, but one or two sloppy pickoffs where suddenly they overstay their welcome, they try to kill Sammy Boy, and they don't instantly. I think Oscar failed in two or three duels past that point, and really, with the way that everyone itemized, you can see the breaking point. Everyone itemized for this timing where they were winning the game, and then they stopped winning the game. Where you don't have Armlet on LC, you don't have Maelstrom on Ember, you really don't have these comeback mechanisms that are there for your heroes, but they're choices that you need to make earlier on, and they thought that they needed these items to play in this way that would have given them that early victory, and unfortunately, they dropped the ball for a good 10 minutes, and then suddenly black and yellow just take everything and then some. I think really the Amazon specifically with their plays onto the Roche, with him just winning every single man fight time and time again, he was really everywhere he needed to be, especially catching out Dark Mago so many times with the Diffusal Blade, where if he doesn't have a Remnant already laid down, a hero that should be unkillable in this game is very killable. And I think Dark Mago specifically used so many Remnants so aggressively so many times, and then they never made the adjustment once they started losing. They just really kept playing the same game over and over again, and then they kept losing over and over again because Black and Yellow adapted and they had the gold from those subsequent deaths.
And yeah, we pointed out during the game, for me, the most frustrating part was Oscar blink in onto the Tidehunter, duel him up. You don't win the duel, you get ravaged, you lose the fight. Next time out, you jump in onto the Tidehunter, you duel him up, you don't win the duel, you get ravaged, you lose the fight. They do that 2 or 3 times in a row, and at a certain stage, you just gotta try anything else. I know that Tidehunter Ravage is that threat, but if you can't kill him, then you're just walking directly into the trap, and I feel like those were really the moments when they tried to force those fights that solidified that momentum shift and put Black and Yellow really definitively in the driver's seat there. So, Thunder Predator, you bash your head against the wall, 99.9% of the time, ET, the wall wins that fight. So, they needed to change things up, and it didn't really feel like they ever did.
Yeah, I honestly, this is like the biggest upset so far of the tournament. Black and Yellow took a game with Thunder Predator. Now, this is a game 3 I'd love to see because
Yeah.
I'm sure there would be some hero that slips on through, but it's also just Black and Yellow. It felt like Thunder Predator did such a good job with the way that they formulated their draft, but this Necro pick also worked out pretty fantastically, even though he wasn't exactly putting Dark Mago in a poor spot because Dark Mago was, finding kills and plays elsewhere. Sammy Boy himself was incredibly farmed. It felt like he was really going to be the vanguard for his team for a while, and then he kind of ended up being the linchpin.
Yeah, it was something we had a lot of questions about, but all the answers to those questions were pretty much positive. So, unexpected. Really don't look to see the Necrophos jumping up in popularity either, even after that win, but it works out for Black and Yellow here, and they managed to pull off a very, very unexpected 1-1 draw against Thunder Predator, and now all of a sudden, you look at Black and Yellow, they've got some very nice momentum heading into another series. They are going to be playing up next. They're facing off against Simply 2-Based, a team that they came in today actually tied with, as both teams were sort of there at the bottom of the standings. So Black and Yellow have already created a little bit of separation with the win in this series. Now in the head-to-head matchup, they could pretty much kind of sort of guarantee themselves a spot in that playoff bracket. If they could somehow 2-0 2-Based here, then Simply 2-Based path to the playoff would be incredibly difficult. And well, before, those teams were looking even, but now, after taking on Thunder Predator, Black and Yellow got to feel like they can take just about anybody.
And the winner of the losers, we'll have to see.
So, as mentioned, that is going to be the next series coming up, Black and Yellow versus 2-Based, so we are going to be hopping into a break now. Do want to give you a bit of a warning. It's going to be a slightly longer break, obviously, as we are going to give Black and Yellow some additional time so that they're not too tired on the back-to-back series. So, we're going to be about maybe 15 to 20 minutes out from that one, but it will be Black and Yellow versus 2-Based to cap off the day. So we will be back for the start of that third and final series.